What if Darth Vader upgraded his suit? That's what we're going to be going over today. Surprised I haven't actually done this one yet. I've done an alternate one to it that has a much different story than what we're going to do today. If you want to see that one, link is in the description. But today, what if Vader upgraded his suit? Let's get right into it. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, the new Sith apprentice, Darth Vader, was traveling through hyperspace on his personal Star Destroyer, the Executor. It's been about a year since he became Darth Vader, and right now he was suspended in the air while his suit was being repaired. Not long ago, Vader was sent out to kill Jedi Master Kelleran Beck and find a child that Kelleran was reportedly with. Vader was successful in killing Kelleran, who'd been hiding out with the Gungans on Naboo, but the fight greatly injured Vader, and the child was not there, though he ultimately did slaughter Kelleran and around 50 Gungan fighters against him. Vader's breathing apparatus was damaged, the glass on his right eye was cracked, his left wrist was sliced into, and as Vader was being repaired, suspended and helpless, he reflected on his life inside of the suit. In the past, only Dooku, Asajj Ventress, Obi-Wan Kenobi had been good enough with a blade to injure him. So now, how did a regular Jedi Master, how was he able to do so? As Anakin, Vader slaughtered Jedi in the temple, but now in the suit, everything was different. And as he sat here, he thought, with the loss of my limbs, have I also lost my strength in the Force? Vader recognized the voice of the one who posed the question as the specter of Anakin. Anakin telling him that he was not as powerful as he thought he was, the little slave boy, cowering because he was not the master of his fate, a mere accessory in the world owned by another, passed over, and now newly enslaved. He lifted his masked face to the cabin ceiling and growled in torment. Sidious's inept med-droids had done this to him, slowed his reflexes, burdened him with armor and padding. He relished having destroyed them. Or, Vader thought, had Sidious deliberately engineered this prison? Again, it was Anakin who asked, that small note of fear in Vader's heart. Was this punishment for having failed on Mustafar? Or had Mustafar merely provided Sidious with an excuse to weaken him? Perhaps all along, the promise of apprenticeship had been nothing more than a ploy, when, in fact, Sidious merely needed someone to command his army of stormtroopers. Another Grievous, while Sidious reaped the real rewards of power, confident that his newest minion posed no real threat to his rule. Clenching his right hand, he cursed to the Force. What had it ever provided him but pain? Torturing him with foresight, with visions he was unable to prevent, leading him to believe that he had great power when he was little more than its servants. His life right now is just running errands for Palpatine, whether it's hunting down a Jedi, going to scare a senator, looking for an artifact. Every day he felt more useless, with less power to do anything about it. He did miss Padme, Ahsoka, Rex, Obi-Wan. He missed the feeling of happiness, the ability to eat, the relief of sleep, the calmness of the smell of fresh air. He missed so much, but he could do none of it in this suit. And if he let himself think about it, he knew he would go insane. So Vader followed the Emperor's bidding, played his game, kept himself busy, because what else was he supposed to do? At this point, Vader and Palpatine rarely even spoke. Orders would sometimes come without contact, or from Commander Oppo himself, and Vader didn't mind this. Palpatine was preoccupied, trying to start his empire, trying to figure out how to live forever, something he promised Vader that Padme could do. Vader hated Palpatine so much, with every ounce of his being. But Palpatine had him completely beaten. So today, Vader continued his life of hatred, coming out of hyperspace above the planet Kali. It was reported here that the people, mainly the Kaleesh warriors, had become friendly to Jedi Council Master Oppo Rancice, and it was Vader's mission to destroy this forming resistance. Vader finished his repairs on this pathetic excuse of a suit, and descended down to the surface. They had coordinates where the Imperial spy within the Kali camp said the Jedi rebel cell was forming. But as 5 Imperial shuttles continued their descent to the planet, one thing became very clear. The Imperial spy was a double agent who called the Empire here on purpose. Vader felt it a moment before it happened, as 2 missiles slammed into 2 of the shuttles. Vader ordered the pilot of his shuttle to take evasive action, but it was too late. A 3rd missile hit their shuttle, and it immediately began crashing. Vader pulled away the door and leapt out of the shuttle as it crashed to the ground, and he, too, slammed to the ground. Around Vader now, within around 100 yards, all 5 Imperial shuttles crashed into the ground. This was a curious strategy, as the Empire would most certainly be sending heavy reinforcements, but Vader soon realized this was the plan all along. From all around him, Vader heard warriors beginning to descend from mountainsides, as well as a large cave. Vader ignited his crimson lightsaber, preparing for a fight, as the ancient Jedi showed himself. It was Oppo Rancice, been around since the High Republic, and the Jedi Master spoke, telling Vader that he and the Kali warriors would be the start of the rebellion. These warriors began to rebel against the Republic, and now the Empire, and with the death of Vader, the Empire would be severely hurt. Vader told Oppo he would not die easily, and Oppo ignited his green lightsaber, ordering the 10 warriors to charge. The battle unfolded amidst the dense foliage, as Vader's crimson blade cut through the air, meeting the swift strikes of the Kali warriors and the maneuvers of Oppo Rancice, slithering into battle. Vader was caught off guard immediately, as the 10 warriors wielded electro staffs, similar to the Magna Guards of Grievous. The warriors pressed Vader relentlessly. Oppo Rancice was weaving between his allies to strike at Vader's weaknesses. He was nearly striking Vader, but the Dark Lord stood strong for now. Vader uprooted a tree, crushing 4 warriors with it, then stabbing another as he turned to save his friends. As the battle raged, Vader's breathing echoed through his helmet, a reminder of how limited he still was. His armor bore scars from the relentless attacks as Rancice cut into Vader's right shoulder, then through his left knee. Vader threw another 3 warriors off of a nearby cliff, then threw his lightsaber, decapitating the final 2 and leaving only Oppo. The Jedi Master, though, slammed his tail into Vader, knocking him down as Vader's lightsaber skittered to the ground. Oppo was about to go for the kill, but he was too late. He took too long, becoming distracted by the distant hum of the approaching clone reinforcements. In this momentary distraction, Vader grabbed Oppo by the neck with one hand, by the tail with the other hand. With the physical strength of his arms in the suit, Vader ripped the Jedi in half, throwing him off of the cliff. And Vader fell to his knees, extremely weakened. More warriors were approaching, but the Imperial reinforcements bombed the area, deploying hundreds of stormtroopers, taking over this planet. As Vader was kneeling here, again almost dead because of his suit, he looked to the warrior that he stabbed, and he noticed something strange. He was wearing very recognizable armor that was extremely similar to General Grievous. It was modified to fit the warriors. Of course, this was the homeworld of Grievous. Before his lair was destroyed after the war, the Kali warriors must have gone and taken all of it, bringing all of the armor here. For the first time since swearing himself to the Sith, Vader felt a bit of hope. He'd explored the idea of upgrading his suit, but nothing fit what Vader needed. But his cybernetics were similar to the ones of Grievous, only his were much worse. It seemed to Vader that Palpatine purposely used cybernetics that were nearly impossible to find. But they did match those of Grievous. Perhaps with access to Grievous's cybernetics, things can finally change for the better. Vader walked to the cave where the warriors had attacked him from, and he entered. After a bit, he came upon a huge room, which had exactly what he was looking for. The walls and the ceiling were lined with armor, all of them the replacements of General Grievous himself. This could really work, Vader thought. Once Oppo and the rest of the 501st finished with their attacks on the Kali people, Vader ordered the troopers to begin loading all of this onto his Star Destroyer. From here, the entire cave armory was brought to Mustafar, where Vader observed it, and then began searching through Imperial files to determine who would best be suited to put him in a new suit. Eventually, Vader recruited a geneticist called Zeta Magnus and a group of Geonosis scientists to the castle. He informed them that he wanted to be like Grievous, only stronger, and his suit still needs to look the same, so no one knows that he has become more powerful. The genetic scientist and the Geonosians protested, saying this will put them out of favor for the Emperor, and this procedure will require the scientists to kill Vader momentarily to move his brain around. So how does Vader know that they will bring him back to life? Vader said he expected this answer. then used the Force, stabbing needles into all of the scientists. Vader said that these needles contained a virus, of which only he has the cure, and it will be given to them after the procedure. At this point, Vader was accepting this procedure may kill him, but he was basically just a living corpse already. He hated every moment he was alive, so he would take this chance. A new suit would give him all of the power that he ever wanted. And eventually, the scientists had no choice but to agree, and they began the procedure. The Geonosian scientists implanted his brain and eyes into a duranium alloy body reminiscent of a Krath war droid, complete with LX-44 robotic legs. His vital organs were housed in a synth-skin gut sac impervious to vacuum. Modifications were created to improve the agility and the speed in his limbs, and overall, Vader had a new suit that was exactly what he needed. In the end, the scientists would replicate the look of Vader's old armor, making no sign to any changes, so Vader would be much more powerful while looking roughly the same. Eventually, Vader would wake up from the experiments, and he could immediately feel how much better this was. He looked at the scientists and determined they would be an excellent test for his new armor. So he called his saber to his hand, igniting it, cutting through them with agility reminiscent of Anakin Skywalker. Vader turned the excitement into rage, using the dark side to destroy everyone here. This would include Oppo and the 501st clones, who helped bring the armor here. Vader moved with insane agility and speed. Cutting them down, he was like a shadow as he was leaving no loose ends. And now Darth Vader stood tall, feeling how great everything was. His arms and legs were even stronger than before, but his movements were so much faster. His eyes were repaired and enhanced. The constant pain of the old suit was replaced with healing-enhancing stims. His breathing apparatus was finally repaired to allow him to learn to breathe normally again. The scientists had basically done the impossible, as he was now basically an enhanced Anakin Skywalker. He would be able to sleep, heal, and just become better than he ever was. Over the next few months, Vader would continue to test his suit until he was as confident as Anakin ever was. Countless Jedi were killed without even putting up a fight, and Vader would go from being damaged nearly every time to leaving battles in perfect condition. He was truly holding the power of the Chosen One. On Coruscant, Emperor Palpatine could feel something had changed with Vader. Palpatine prided himself on being 10 steps ahead of his apprentice, but the reports from the stormtroopers, along with how Vader felt in the Force, well, it scared Sidious greatly, and he was not about to risk his life as the immortal Emperor on an apprentice that was a failure to him. So Palpatine secretly dispatched every single Inquisitor to Vader's castle. They were to destroy him and imprison him until Vader could learn his lessons for disobeying Palpatine. And inside of his castle, Vader was in a Bacta tank, but he was legitimately sleeping and healing, two things his old suit never allowed. Sleep was still something Vader was getting used to again, but today his eyes shot open as he sensed something, an approaching ship. Vader quickly got out of the tank, grabbing his lightsaber, looking at it, and then placing it back down. Sidious always said that the Sith only used lightsabers to mock the Jedi, and now Vader decided he would show Sidious it is him who has ascended the need for a saber. The 12 Inquisitors would land and begin sneaking through the halls of the castle. They thought this would be a surprise attack, but they didn't know how powerful Vader's senses had become once again. Suddenly, all of the lights in the castle were cut. They all ignited their red blades, and the Grand Inquisitor looked to see 2 of the Inquisitors lifted into the air, choking, thrown into the wall, being crushed and dying instantly. And the Dark Lord emerged. As the Grand Inquisitor issued the command to attack, Vader, a dark silhouette amidst the dimly lit castle, began moving with unreal speed. All 10 of them tried to cut Vader down, but instead all 10 of them were flung like rag dolls, their lightsabers momentarily dimmed as Vader's raw Force supremacy overwhelmed them. Again, the Grand Inquisitor looked to see Vader move into the room. Using his new agility and strength, he used both arms to grab an Inquisitor, crushing them, then forced 2 more to stab themselves with their own lightsabers. Walls shook as bodies collided, echoing the turbulent clash of the dark side. Vader lifted the final 5 living Inquisitors, freezing them in midair. They never stood a chance, and after a moment of looking upon them, Vader unleashed a huge Force push. The Inquisitors were all thrown through the far wall and fell down into the lava way below the castle. They were all dead, and Vader decided it was time the Emperor feel his wrath. So Vader would travel to Coruscant, taking the Inquisitor shuttle as to not cause any alarm upon arrival. And as Vader traveled, he found something very interesting, a personal stasis prison, just like the one at the Fortress Inquisitorius that was likely meant for him. Well, perhaps it can have a different use, Vader thought. And as the Emperor sat in his throne, he was soon alerted that the Inquisitor's ship had landed in the hangar. This was strange to Palpatine, as he couldn't feel them in the Force. In fact, he realized he couldn't feel them, or Vader, anywhere in the Force. But his worst fears were soon realized as Vader entered his office. He'd learned to hide his presence in the Force, even from Palpatine. Palpatine, who was the master at this, hid his presence from the Jedi for decades, and now Vader learned to hide it from him. He truly had power. The Emperor could feel his power, and it gave the Emperor great fear. Vader was here to destroy him. And without even closing his fist, Vader crushed the royal guards in here, in upon themselves, as they died in a heap. Palpatine told Vader he was a fool, that he was no match for the true Sith Lord, and he shot lightning at Vader. And Vader, with speed quicker than Palpatine could have ever anticipated, leaped over the lightning, flipping above Palpatine. Palpatine again shot lightning. Vader took it in this time, and it didn't even affect him. And then Palpatine pulled out a lightsaber, igniting it. But the blade never even emerged. Vader had his hand outstretched, and he held the crystal in place inside of Palpatine's lightsaber, using the Force to put pressure on it. Palpatine looked up in fear, and a moment later, Vader closed his fingers. The crystal exploded, sending Palpatine crashing against the wall, nearly killing him. The room was engulfed in the explosion. Fire was everywhere. Palpatine knew this had to have killed Vader. But as he looked through the fire, Vader emerged through it. Vader grabbed Palpatine with the Force, freezing him completely, dragging the Emperor out of the room like he was nothing. Some clones were coming to find the Emperor, but Vader discarded them with ease, sending them crashing against the wall, dead. And this gave Vader the opportunity to leap from a high window back down to his ship, dragging Palpatine inside. The Emperor tried to resist, but Vader snapped his limbs, then lifted him up, telling Palpatine that his wish of eternal life could still come true, as Vader inserted him into the freezing stasis prison. He was alive, but frozen forever. From here, Vader would begin to establish his rule as Emperor. His first move was to call upon Moff Tarkin and promote him to a role that was essentially a vice-emperor. Vader knew that he was not politically smart enough to rule an empire alone, and Tarkin accepted this with grace. More power was never something he would turn down. Vader would initially actually try to rule in a way that he thought Padme would like, but he soon found it to be impossible. Every night, he would dream of the day on Naboo where they sat in a field together. Padme would ask Anakin who was supposed to enforce all the people, then ask Anakin if he was supposed to do it. Within seconds, the field would turn to lava. Padme would be crying, yelling at Anakin that she hates him. It was ripping Vader apart. He was two personalities still. So he made a choice. He finally did it. He let go of Anakin, truly killing him, and therefore killing the memories of Padme, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, his mother, leaving only the dark side as he would rule as the Sith Emperor. Vader and Tarkin would then form the Council of Moffs, helping to govern the galaxy and reform the Empire to make it stronger. Palpatine's fatal flaw was always letting rebel cells have hope, as Palpatine thought he could never be overthrown. But Vader and Tarkin would not let the rebels have any hope, snuffing it out, killing them immediately. Palpatine also tried not to care about Kenobi or the Jedi, unlike Vader. He said it was wiser to just let them fester in their failure. But Vader disagreed, and so he organized everything to frame Obi-Wan Kenobi for Palpatine's murder, sending a message to every planet, every city, every citizen of the galaxy. If you see Kenobi, report it, and if you are seen around Kenobi, then you and everyone close to you will be arrested and killed. Naturally, on Tatooine, Owen saw this after a huge argument with Obi-Wan, and so he secretly reported Kenobi to Imperial authorities. He only wanted to keep his family safe, but he made a fatal error, trusting the Empire. Vader traveled to Tatooine and would oversee the planetary bombardment of a 100-mile radius near Owen's home. This would of course kill the Lars family, including a young boy named Luke, along with Obi-Wan, as Vader watched from above. This was a message to the galaxy. Should anyone mess with the Emperor, their fate will result in the death of themselves and anyone they have ever cared for. This would inspire some senators to leave the Senate, and those who left would be framed for treason and investigated. Bail Organa, for one, would have his home searched, and they would find evidence of communications with Kenobi, the Emperor killer. This was enough evidence to bomb Alderaan as well, killing the Organas, along with Leia. On Tantus, Vader would scrap all plans to make Palpatine immortal and restart the cloning process to continue the Imperial Army. The process was heavily sped up, and within years, Vader would have millions more clones ready. They were created so quick that they were like extremely loyal zombies, but they were good enough to enforce Vader's rule. He would not train an apprentice. Instead, he would hunt Jedi and any other Force users, so only he would remain as a Sith or Jedi. This is how he wanted it. He was the chosen one, born to enforce balance. Yoda, Ahsoka, countless others would be hunted down by the strong Empire and killed, until Vader was basically alone in the Force. The galaxy submitted to Emperor Vader, and for years that turned into decades, no one stopped him. The Jedi Council would become his throne room, and his prized possession that was hidden away from everyone else was Darth Sidious, frozen in stasis in constant pain, left to watch as Vader took everything from him. And folks, that is our story. If you want one that explores Vader kind of becoming more powerful and exploring the path of bringing Padme back to life, which is something I didn't explore at all in this one, link in the description for that video. I enjoyed that one as well. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. Shout out to all the members on YouTube. We're sitting at about 20 right now. Much appreciated. You guys get videos, priority comments on all videos, and a sneak peek at what the next video is going to be every time I upload. So appreciate the members. If you want to sign up, link also in the description. Let's talk about our story. I really wanted to do a what if Vader upgraded his armor for a while, but I don't always like to do videos that are kind of, because a lot of people have done this video, right? And I'm worried that if I do it, it'll be kind of copying what others have done. I don't watch what others have done because I fear that'll kind of just make me write the same story. So I hope this was different. I think I at least implemented my own few things. I love the idea of Vader ditching a lightsaber. I love the idea of Vader kind of imprisoning Palpatine and just having him trapped there forever. I do really enjoy that. And I also love the idea of him becoming basically the only Force user, the chosen one, if you will. I liked a lot of the concepts I put in this. Hope you guys did as well. Overall, I mean, I really did love this video. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.